How's the season been going for you so far?
Good. I mean, it's been in terms of things I wanted to do personally. It's been a great season. A little bit of a learning curve right now in AAA, but it's all really normal stuff. Just getting used to some new, better hitters, guys who are back and forth guys, major league caliber players, obviously, and just learning how to use your pitches to their fullest potential and just making the most of it.
And do you know that the adjustment process is going to be there? Like when you perform so great at AA, and then when you come up and it's a little bumpier at the start, but I guess that's just something you kind of anticipate, right?
Yeah. I mean, you never want to think like there's going to be an adjustment period, right? Yeah, you never want to be like, oh, I'm going to struggle a little bit, but I knew that it's nothing out of the ordinary. Happens to a lot of guys, but I mean, to me, I really trust the org in terms of what we're doing, and even just tweaking pitches. The balls are a little bit different, getting a feel for that at first. Carry on the fastball, and also just pitch sequencing. How to get those guys out and reading swings a little bit better, and it's really just learning and a process. But I at the end of the day, I trust the process that got me there, and just staying with it.
What's the difference between you now versus you last year?
I think one of the things, thinking of it first, I've walked some more guys at AAA. Zone is tight, but we're all dealing with it. That's just a normal thing in AAA. But I think really the way I'm attacking strike zone, attacking hitters, forcing them to get hits, and that's the way they score instead of putting guys on. I mean, that really worked for me at AA, and it's something that I just need to get going again at AAA. But also just a mentality every day, trusting my process, trusting what I'm doing, and day in, day out, just showing up with the right attitude.
I was going to ask you about that with the ABS. A lot of guys have said that has made the zone a little bit tighter, and it's taken adjustment period for a lot of guys. Is that something you think you've noticed in switching levels like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's different. I mean, there's no denying that the top of the zone kind of does seem gone. That's one of the things I do, and I really trained in the off season to do well is throw strikes at the top, and that's one of the ways to get ahead. Now, I think at the same time it's almost like a good challenge. It's at the same time with better hitters, though, if you're only throwing fastballs up, they're going to adjust and they're going to look up, and then it's okay, now how am I going to freeze a guy down? So I think it's more of a competitive thing for myself too, to challenge myself to be can I move and command my heater, not just throw it 4 strikes, can I throw it where I want in the zone? And I think that's huge, and I think that's what you see the best of the best do, is they really control their fastball where they want in the zone.
We were admiring your cleats there with your draft position. Is that a motivational tool?
Yeah. So I got the cleats behind me. For me, I know that you see things about could have been this, could have been that out of high school, but for me, I'm just 8th round pick, just here, futures game, just moving my way through the system. That's the way I think about myself. I don't really think of that I had some past life where I was a super high pick. I am who I am, and I kind of identify as the 8th round pick in the 21 draft class, and I'm just working hard to not necessarily prove it to others, but prove to myself that I know how good I can be, and ultimately try and get to Citi Field and pitch in the big leagues.
How good can you be?
How good can I be? Well, that's a pretty good question. I think personally, I can be pretty good, but I think it really is how much work I put in will be the output of my results, and really just being confident every day. But yeah, I got some pretty good confidence. I can be a pretty good pitcher. Yeah.
I think Mets fans know your name. If you could kind of describe yourself as a pitcher, just what would you say?
If I were to describe myself, one of the first things is I love to win. And I know, you're watching the team now, they're starting to win, and I get excited about that because I want the Mets to win. Anyone who's affiliated with the Mets wants them to win, and one of the things about me is whether it's 6 innings, 4 runs, and that's what the job calls for, or if it calls for 7 innings shutout, as a starting pitcher, you got to do your job, and you got to be able to show up every day and give the team the best possible chance to win. And I think that's ultimately the only thing that matters is winning every day. Not personal results once you get up there. It's about, did we win today, and did I execute my plan, and really that's all that matters.
I know you're from the Boston area. Is the draft pick thing kind of a Tom Brady motivation tool, or what?
Yeah, I can't deny there's a little bit of that in there.
I'm from Walpole, so I know.
Yeah. Tom Brady is one of my heroes in terms of sports. Like he really is. He was even that before I like experienced some of the things I have, like in terms of doubts or stuff like that. He's just always been my guy that I look to. That's like, this is who I want to be in terms of like a champion, a winner, a competitor, and you know. Yeah, you always like to try and draw comparisons between you and the goat, the goat of you know, all goats. But yeah, you know, I read the stuff that he said before and about, you know, when things aren't going your way or stuff like that, and use his motivation. You know, definitely use his motivation for sure.
Coming out of high school, like you were viewed as one of the as a projected first rounder that you asked not to be drafted that year, right? Like the fact that you did go in the 8th round, is there validation to be had in the fact that you've now, like, you know, kind of emerged as someone who's
you know, for me, I definitely enjoy the fact that like I'm able to get like here and like be like, okay, you know, I could have been a first round pick and now I'm at the futures game. You know, it's kind of following the path, some people would say, of like what a high draft pick would do. But at the same time, I think, you know, what I learned from that moment of like, okay, you might have fallen or you gone in the round you didn't think you were going to, in terms of now, like I think that stuff's going to stick with me more, and I'm going to learn more from all my failures almost, and really how I perceive failure. And you know, to me, like, failure is awesome. It's like you fail, but that's only a result of how I can get better, and that's really how I view it. It's like, okay, what did I not do well, but how can I get better now? So yeah.
Do you feel that much closer now to getting up there?
Yeah, I think the moment.
You try not to maybe think too much about it.
Yeah, you know, I think the moment I got called up to Syracuse, like, it's one thing, you know, you're going from St. Lucie to Brooklyn. Oh, I'm going to high A, I'm going to double A. There's only one more stop after this, you know, so it's like, it's only human to think that. But I think for myself, it's just like, okay, like, we need to realize that there's some even more uncontrollable things to move up. It's not only like, oh, I had a good month, time to go, you know. So you got to keep in mind that you got to show up every day, staying present, be where my feet are, take care of business. And I think, you know, if I do a lot of those things well, I'll give it my best shot as being a contender. But like at the same time, that's not up to me a lot of the time, and I'm just there to do my job every day and show up and give them another option. So.